Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. We have got another Beauty Bay palette to review. I didn't actually think there was going to be another one so soon. So grab a drink and let's get into it. As most of you probably know, I love to review Beauty Bay eyeshadow palettes, especially the limited edition ones when they come out. They are the £20, but this is not a limited edition as far as I'm aware. This is just another one to add to their range. This is the Smokey palette, and yes, I did get the big one. There were 3 size choices in this, and there was a really small one. I think it was a 9-pan with fully mattes. There was a medium one. Is that a 20-pan or is it 16-pan? It's a more medium toned down size, so if you don't like really big palettes, that one could be for you. It's got a mixture of shimmers and mattes, and this one that is £25 is the biggest one, and it does have 42 shades in this. And look at it. I mean, did it really need to be this big? I mean, the jury's out on that one still, but we're going to test this today. I'm going to do a look for you. I'm obviously not going to be able to do every single eyeshadow and test it out for you on my eyes because that is a lot of shadow, but we're going to see what we can come up with. Now, this palette does say it's cruelty-free and vegan, and it does have a 12-month shelf life. I really do like the packaging. It's quite minimalist and simplistic, and I really like the smoky shade of grey that they have included on the packaging. It always comes in a box that looks like this, that is actually too big for the palette because there is a lot of padding in this. So I've never had anything broken, thankfully, from Beauty Bay, because they do put a lot of bubble wrap inside the packaging to make sure it is nice and protected. Let's dive in to the close-ups and swatches. So if you like a smoky eye and you want a lot of choice, this palette could be for you, because £25 for 42 shades, and this will likely go on sale in the not too distant future as well. I think that is really good for the quality that you're getting from Beauty Bay. I don't think it's my favourite formula in the entire world. I do prefer the mattes over the shimmers with Beauty Bay in general, especially the putty-like shimmers. I can see already before swatching this that there are some more putty-like shimmers in this, and there are more foiled shades as well. The mattes, I mean, we've got some browns in this. I'm not sure about the smaller palettes. I don't know if they're more grey leaning, but we definitely do have some browns included in this, and there even looks to be like blue leaning greys. Especially this one looks like a really deep navy, and of course we have a black and we have a matte white. I love a matte white. I love a matte white in a corner. Maybe that's what we're gonna do, who knows. But we do have these 2 big rows of shimmers in the middle, and we do have a few dotted at the bottom. Is it the most exciting palette I've ever seen? No, because I'm a bright Technicolor lover. If you know me, you know I love bright eyeshadow, mainly green, but I do appreciate a smoky eye. So we're gonna see how this performs. I'm assuming it's the same formula and quality that Beauty Bay usually bring out, and I've tested a lot of their eyeshadows in the past. So we're gonna see if it's the same good quality, and we're gonna come up with something smoky. Just a side note, if my makeup's looking a little bit ropey, just know that I've had my base on the majority of the day waiting for this to arrive, because usually it arrives in a morning quite early if I order from Beauty Bay. But my usual delivery guy was obviously not on today, and I've had to wait more or less all day for this to arrive, which is a little bit sad because I was planning to get my filming done, and now I'm currently super hungry and waiting for a takeaway. Okay, I have primed my Beauty Bay eye base, so now that is on, I mean, if we're going to do a smoky eye, we're going to do it big, bold and dramatic, right? Right? Is that not the plan? Now, if I wasn't on YouTube and reviewing palettes, I probably would have bought the medium version of this. I'm not going to lie, because I don't really feel like I need this many shades in these sort of tones. I feel like it's a little bit overkill for me, but like I say, if you use these tones all the time and you really like big palettes, this could definitely be for you. I feel like maybe, should we start out with the black? Should we be daring and start out with the black? It's called Tattoo. I mean, that sounds promising. So going into the black, carefully, sparingly. Let's try not to make myself look like a panda because it has been known. And I'm just relaxing my eyes and I just want to press this black just above my natural crease, otherwise you're not going to see it. And we'll blend it out with some of the different shades and see what we can do. I do have a Beauty Bay playlist if you are interested in Beauty Bay eyeshadows. I have a lot of them. I have all of the limited edition 20 pans and a lot of the ones that aren't limited edition as well. And I did do a ranking a while ago if you want to check that out. If you want to see what I feel about Beauty Bay in general and which I feel are the best palettes from them. But I do feel like Beauty Bay are quite consistent with their formula. There's been one or two palettes like the Nikki Tutorials palette. That was not a good palette. The mattes in that were some of the worst I've ever used, to be quite honest. But in general, I think they've learned, they have moved on, and I'm getting black fallout. I should have known. But yeah, in general, I kind of know what to expect from the matte formula and the shimmer formula. So unless I've changed something dramatically, like I'm not expecting to be surprised at all. This is going to be great to wash off and I've got work tomorrow, so if I'm looking a little worse for wear afterwards, trying to get all the black off my eyes. Do I even know what shape I'm doing at this point? No, absolutely not. I kind of just sit down, look at the palette and hope for the best. I don't really ever sit down and plan, which I probably should do, but I like inspiration to grab me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I feel like we've got like the pandaness going on and I'm just kind of pressing it in. I haven't actually blended anything yet. I'm just literally pressing it in where I want it to be, and it looks crazy until I relax my eyes and then you're like, oh, okay, Kerry, there isn't as much black. When your hoods have eaten it all up when you've relaxed your eye. This is a lot of black eyeshadow going on my face right now, guys. Like, I know it scares some people. I mean, it's kind of scaring me right now. Then I think what I'm going to do before I do anything else is just take a clean brush and just a little bit fluff on the edge. I don't want to do big swipey blendy motions because then this is going to run away with me and just smear all over my eye and then I will look very insane. So just very gently, just sort of tapping and wiggling over the edge slightly. Just like that. And the last release from Beauty Bay that I reviewed not long ago, the Reckless Romance palette. I've done 2 videos with that now, I think. That wasn't my favourite colour story wise either. Again, it wasn't bright and colourful. That was more sort of grunge Valentine. And that had some cool tones, greys and browns in too. So I feel like for the next release, I'm really hoping Beauty Bay do something that draws me in a little bit more. Like, I love all eyeshadow, but I do love bright Technicolor. So I'm hoping that the next one is going to be more leaning that way. Now that is really rough. Don't look at the shape, don't look at the blending now, because this is just, it's a trust the process look. Now we're going to need some grey. Like, we do have a lot of greys in this, but they've all got different undertones, so I can see why they are there. Like, I'm not even showing you all. There we go. The greys, they are definitely different undertones. Some are a little bit too similar to each other. I don't feel like they'll look that different on the eye, but if you scan through the whole palette, I can, oh, I like this one. Mountain is a nice light one, but what are we going to go with? I feel like I'm going to go with maybe Sketch, which is this grey here. And I'm just going to dab that on the edges of this black very lightly. Because like I say, black and grey eyeshadow can run away with you, and before you know it, you've just got a whole giant panda eye. I do find the mattes from Beauty Bay palettes to be blendable. I do enjoy working with them and I do think that they are blendable. I don't think they are the most buildable. Like, they can definitely be built. Like, you can put the black on top of another shade and blend it in. But if you're building and building like more than 2 to 3 shadows on top of each other, I don't think that's going to be the best. Okay, now that's down and looking somewhat rough, I am going to go in with a nice light grey. I might go in with Clouds, which is a little bit more blue leaning. You can definitely tell it's got a blue undertone to that one. I don't know if this is going to be a mistake, but we'll We'll soon find out. And just take that on a fluffier brush. I don't want it to be as dense because I want it to be a bit more dispersed just to blend out those edges. Just being really, really light with it. And I will definitely go back in with the black, then the mid-tone grey, and then this light one again to work on the blend until I'm happy. And hopefully it will all come together. And it's just a case of being patient and going back through the shades and just keep looking at it like, what do I need to add more of with a smoky eye like this? And you just think, maybe less black. I did say I wanted it to be dramatic though, in my defense. It'll all make sense when the shimmer's on, I'm sure. Do I feel like I could have just recreated this look with my Natasha Denona mini Xenon? Or my Natasha Denona Xenon? Yes. Yes. I think if you already have those palettes, unless you do collect Beauty by eyeshadows, I don't necessarily think you're going to need this one. Now I'm going to go in with the white. I'm not going to lift the huge palette up to show you because it's a white. We all know what a white eyeshadow looks like. We're going to see how it performs though. Is it going to be pigmented and bright and bold and in your face like I want it to be? Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. I do love a pigmented white. How pigmented is this gonna be? I am kind of pressing it on. I don't really blend whites when I want them to be pigmented. That's nice. It can definitely be more flattering on an aging eye to keep things matte, but it doesn't really stop me. I'll just use whatever I feel like. I just feel like I prefer a matte in a corner, like maybe 80% of the time. Although I think this white is pigmented, I can't lie, we can definitely see it. I don't know if it's my favourite white that I've ever used. I think one of the best whites that I've ever used is in the Made by Mitchell. Is it Head in the Clouds? Is it called Walter? Now that is a good white. We have a plethora of shimmers to dive into in the big version. Like I said, there's still quite a lot of shimmers in the medium size version, so don't be put off if you feel like you would reach for that one more because it's smaller. But we even have an icy. Wow, that is nice. Okay, that is called Fairy. That is so cute. And if you want something a little bit more, is this more sort of gold leaning? Champagne maybe? Starfall. Ugh. They are nice. We also have a more blue leaning one called River. Oh, that's so pretty. I can see more what look like more traditional shimmers in here too. I think some of the shimmers are a little bit close in tone. Like I say, you're not going to see that much difference on the eye. Oh, Frost looks kind of cute too. It's a little... I have too many options. I wish this was live and you could tell me which one to use, but I feel like, come on, we're going to have to use this one called River, aren't we? Aren't we? I just want you to know all of my brushes were clean before I started, and I hope you're proud of me. And also, don't forget your coffee that you probably left on the side that's going cold, just like I have. Right, I'm going to go into River first. I'm going to spray this. I do not want fallout. Spritz, spritz. And let's just pack this on. This is a little bit more blue leaning, but I feel like it's not too blue, if you know what I mean. If you want to still keep it sort of deep and dramatic and just have it gently leading into that deep matte. Oh, I like that. It's just that little bit of blue. Oh, that's nice. I didn't think I was going to be enjoying this look this much, but here we are. Oh yeah, I really like that shade. I wonder if that's in the medium one. I love the way I just call it medium. Like, you know what I mean. Now I'm deciding between Frost and Starfall. I feel like maybe a little bit of Starfall going into the white could be cute. Yeah, it is more of a champagne, which is absolutely fine because it looks beautiful. This is not picking up this one's a little bit putty like this Starfall shade. Let's try our best. Try our best. Not always picked up easiest on it. Ooh. Okay, there was definitely enough on the brush. Oh yeah. Real good choice, Kerry. Real good choice there. That is beautiful going into that blue. I actually really love this. I'm going to go back in just with a little bit of the black and the greys just to tap over the very edge of where that matte meets the shimmer. And I feel like that's more or less the look, isn't it? Let me go and find something for the waterline, stick on some lashes, and we'll see how the whole thing looks together. I've shocked myself because I actually really love this look a lot more than I thought I was going to. I knew when I was buying this palette, yes, it's just a full-on smoky palette. It's not going to be bright in your face Technicolor like I usually like to play with, but it's something a little bit different. I like to fill gaps in my collection. I don't really have gaps in my collection. I just like to tell myself this. But I really love how this has come out. I did add 2 blues in the waterline just to make the blue shadow lean a little bit more blue. And of course you can switch it up with whatever you want in your waterline, whether you want to go more white, black, a bright pop of like orange or green would be super cute as well, but I stuck to the blue and I did use 2 of the Colourpop cream gel liners. These are the old formulation, so I'm not sure if the deep blue one is going to be the same. It's DTLA and Prance. I know that they do have Prance in the new formulation, so a combination of those 2 in the waterline just to pick out that blue a little bit more. And I have to say, when I can actually see in my mirror, I really like it. Who am I? Who am I enjoying greys? Now I do have a little bit of fallout on my face, number 1 because I'm rushing because I want to order my takeaway, and number 2 because obviously I had my base done first. So I would recommend with this palette, if you're using the deeper matte shades, to do your eyes first. Don't do it the other way around like me and have little black dots all over your face, because that's going to ruin your base. Am I rhyming? As far as I can tell, the formula for this Beauty Bay palette is the same as the other Beauty Bay palettes that I've tried. Like I say, I do really enjoy working with the mattes. They are pigmented, they are beautiful. I do wish the white was just a little bit more pigmented though. Just turn up that volume just a little bit more. I feel like I've tried better whites from Beauty Bay. Maybe it was just an off day. I always do come back and test palettes more than once to give you my final thoughts, because obviously this is just a first impressions. So I will come back and do that again. But if you put under a white base when you're priming, then that white will pop even more, I'm sure. But I don't like to do that. I like to use more of a skin coloured base that matches my skin so I can see how they are performing just on that. But the mattes, I mean, I enjoyed the blend, I enjoyed the pigment. There was nothing wrong with them whatsoever. Like I say, a little bit of fallout, just be wary. The shimmers, as we know with Beauty Bay, some are harder to pick up on a brush than others. The ones that are the more putty-like formula, I do appreciate that they do more than one shimmer formula in their palettes. That is something that I am very, very grateful for, because choice, variety. If you don't like the putty formula, there are more traditional shadows in there as well that are easier to pick up on a brush. I think these palettes are always really good value for money. Like the size that you are getting, the packaging is always really nice. You get a mirror in them, and especially for this one, 42 shades for £25, and I think the quality is really good for the price. Like I say, it's not my favourite on the market, but it is definitely up there considering the affordability of this palette. Like looking at it, it doesn't scream, oh, I'm a Kerry palette, does it? But I actually really enjoyed playing with it today. Maybe it's because I did use the shades that I did gravitate towards the most, although I did avoid the sort of deep blue navy shade, which I was very, very tempted to go into. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought, no, I'm gonna keep it as smoky and sort of grey toned as possible, but just with that little bit of extra something different on the lid. Tiny, tiny, tiny undertone of blue in there. I do like that we've got such depth in this. I don't feel like we've got any super duper light shades apart from maybe these 2 matte wise. I do like that we've got a lot of light shimmers though, so even if you do something really deep, you can put on the light shimmer to brighten things up if you want that toward the inner corner. But I think there's versatility in this despite it only being a smoky palette, if that makes sense. I feel like I actually enjoyed playing around with this one a little bit more than I did the Reckless Romance, which is a little bit strange because that actually does have colour in it. Make it make sense. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight into the palette and how I do my smoky eyes, my big dramatic bold smoky eyes with a lot of black eyeshadow. Please do let me know down below if you're planning to pick this up or one of the different sizes, or whether this is definitely not for you. You just enjoy watching these types of videos, because I can tell you now, that is definitely me. I will still watch a video, even if I'm not interested in the palette. I will link down below all of the products that I used for this look, as well as my YouTube membership and my Patreon group, which now we have a Discord as well if you join the Patreon group. So I'll leave that down below in case you want to join in the fun, and hopefully guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.